We did an official coffee break tennis poll right here. Who will win the U.S. Open? I only gave him three options because, let's face it, there's only three guys who can likely win. Some will disagree with me. Federer, 32%. Respectable number. Djokovic, 51%. Nadal, with a very small, very tiny 17%. My good friend Madhukaran, he's happy about it. This time it will be Federer, but not Mr. Douglas Kellogg. Fed is done, sadly. Wimbledon broke everything. Boy, people need to not take one match too hard. Welcome to the Coffee Break Tennis Podcast. I am your host, Matt Bradshaw. Happy to be back. Me and Peter Tennis Freeman from Crunch Time Coaching. We're so super busy. It was very hard to make shows. And I am still busy coming back immediately running my 4-year-old camp in Buckhead in Georgia. And I've got to wake up at 6 a.m. again tomorrow for the fifth and final day of what has been a lot of fun, but tough to do that turnaround from Cincinnati and then do the 6 a.m. wake-ups. And, of course, I teach my lessons till 8 or 9 p.m., my older kids. Anyways, so we're just going to keep it short and simple and dive through this draw we have for the U.S. Open. It is a very interesting draw. And there was a comment from the last video saying something to the effect of, do we really need Nick Kyrgios? Is he still good for the sport, Matt? And I got to admit, I was at that match where he went crazy. I was sitting in the Contardi box, the club at Harper's Point box. Thank you to the wonderful Contardi family and the club at Harper's Point. So only about 5 rows away from Nick Kyrgios watching that crazy match. So I do have a lot of thoughts on that, but we'll probably do that this weekend before we get rolling because I just really want to focus on the draw, although I do have one little thing from tennisworldusa.org about Nick Kyrgios, Noah Rubin, American player, basically saying Nick Kyrgios is good for the sport. I'll read that and maybe give a couple thoughts, see how we do with this. Ollie was nice enough to do the seeds for us. So let's start with Joker because he's on top of. So pop that on the screen. And you see, Ollie pretty much got it. You can see what's on the screen there. I will look through the draw and tell you what I wrote down, though. So I definitely, obviously, Roberto Carballes Baena will be first up for Novak. And then Londero, who I saw Federer beat in Cincinnati. That would be his only win. A quick thing on the Federer loss, by the way. Rublev, and I said it, after seeing when he did the Dominic Thiem on clay in Hamburg, I knew he would be dangerous. And Federer, he had like 22 unforced errors. I mean, there's no way to win like that. But I like Federer's attitude coming out of it. And again, whether it's Wimbledon or Cincinnati, the big three have been so good at bouncing back and doing very well at the majors for, it feels like the last 20 years. Obviously not that long, but close enough. So this is what they do. They do have bad results. Djokovic has had many bad results this year, but he still won when it mattered the most. So, don't read into that one loss too much. And like I said, Mr. Rublev was he was going very aggressive and making most of his balls in, playing super aggressive, getting everything in. And Roger Federer, he said he had a good feel for the ball, and I didn't think he was playing entirely bad. Obviously, way too many unforced errors, but doing enough good stuff and doing enough good stuff in that win over Juan Ignacio Londero in that match. So I think Roger will be fine. And looking at his draw, there's not really anyone too dangerous. A good question is, does Medvedev beat Djokovic in best of 5? And does Rublev, does he beat Federer in best of 5 on the same day? Maybe Federer loses. I think Djokovic, though, I think he ends up winning. But you never know. Okay, so going from there, we got third round is Kudla. I like one of these Serbian guys in the third round, Lavic or Tipsarevic, who's retiring. So let's say a bit of fond farewell to Janko Tipsarevic, who has been a lot of fun to watch over the years. Interesting player. Sad to see that his comeback didn't go as well as he wanted to after all the injuries. Would have been nice to see him. Credit to him for coming back at all and getting some W's. But Would have been nice to see him do more winning. He will probably love going out his final round, third round, losing to Djokovic. Probably be a nice send-off in his mind. Wouldn't be surprised to see him win one match and lose in the second round to Lajovic. For round 4 for Djokovic, could be Stan, could be Kevin Anderson, could be Hurkacz. Quarterfinals, Medvedev. So a lot of people are counting on Fritz. Freaking Fritz. Yeah, he ain't getting through. But if I look at this draw, I think who's going to come through Medvedev? Feli Lopez, Taylor Fritz, maybe one of them. Nobody else there. It's a good draw for him to get to Djokovic. I do see Fabio Fognini and Riley Opelka. Tomas Berdych. It almost looks like he's going to have to retire pretty soon. But Fabio or Opelka, maybe they come through to the 4th round and take down Medvedev. I think we get our Djokovic-Medvedev quarterfinal. And like I just said earlier, Medvedev, does he beat Djokovic in best of 5? I don't think he can keep up the 125 mile an hour, 128 second serves in best of 5. Let's go down to the Federer draw. Guaranteed a qualifier first because you got a qualifier in the draw. Then it could be another qualifier or Zoom Zoomer. Manarino, Dirty Dan, Cole Schreiber in there. Lucas Pouille is the projected 3rd round, I believe. 4th round, David Goffin, Guido Pella, Pablo Carreno Busta. I mean, it's pretty open. Federer's got a nice path here. Even if he feels like he didn't get enough matches going to the U.S. Open, he's going to be able to get plenty of play in here without any real danger of getting taken out. Having to play Rublev early on, and since he was a pretty bad draw, but he has a good draw here. This is a good draw for Fed fans, so I'm pretty excited. Below that, more proof that this is a good draw. Nishikori, Coric, Raonic. Those are the only 3 names I really saw in Coric. Coric, I mean, he's had a bad season. He's done nothing. So, no real danger there. Federer, I think, gets to the semifinals unless you're crazy to bet against Federer in the semifinals. Let's move on. So, we got Maria Sharapova and Serena playing first round, which is it's the worst rivalry ever. Serena lost to Sharapova. Was that their first meeting at the 2004 Wimbledon, I want to say, or 2005, one of those years? And then after that, Serena beat her every single time, and a lot of times. But surprisingly, they've never played at the U.S. Open before. They both won the U.S. Open, obviously. You would think they would have run into each other, but they never have. So that's an interesting first-round match, but nothing is worse for Stefanos, or more interesting than Rublev, who took down Dominic Thiem and Federer already in the last month. He's playing Tsitsipas first up. That is the top of the bottom half of the draw, as you can see. So that's a big toss-up mystery. And now look at this draw. I mean, you don't see any obvious stuff here other than Roberto Bautista Agut should be able to come through. And you got Nick Kyrgios, Matteo Berrettini. Although, even though he had some big results, another guy who, what has he done lately? Not a whole lot. This looks pretty open for Nick Kyrgios to at least give us the round 4 with Bautista Agut. Now, will he do it? Who freaking knows? He's the toughest to predict, but Dominic Thiem quarterfinal with Kyrgios. I mean, honestly, it looks like a match Kyrgios could win. I feel like Kyrgios can win against anyone. So one of the things I thought, I know the behavior, it was hard to watch that match in Cincinnati. But the way he plays, I mean, the hands are so good. The serve is, it should be. It could be the best serve on tour if he tried more. If he wasn't tanking so much, his stats would be way up there with all the best servers, for sure. Kyrgios should be able to come through. And people be really excited to see these matches. Kyrgios and Bautista Agut. Kyrgios and Tsitsipas round 3, or Rublev. Kyrgios Dominic Thiem quarterfinal. Kyrgios Nadal semifinal. Yeah, I mean, he's good for the sport. There's no way around it. Obviously, he's not good in some ways, and I really think he overdid it. You know, he probably should be punished for the way he behaved. He pretty much abused the umpire, Fergus Murphy. It was too much. He went overboard. I didn't like it. It was a fun match. People were excited to be there, but the end of it was not fun at all, and he tanked. That's the biggest sin of all to me. Don't give up. Go crazy, but never give up. Win no matter what. If Kyrgios didn't tank ever, I would really like him, and I'd excuse him for a lot of bad behavior just because of his game. And I felt like he loved tennis. I don't feel like he loves tennis, and I don't feel like he'll give his all to win no matter what. And that's why I kind of gave up on him last year, the year before. I was kind of done with Kyrgios until I saw some big results and kind of remembered, oh yeah, this guy is one of the most talented players on the planet. Big question here, does Radu Albato get upset? I mean, does Radu Albato, Mr. Albato, does he take down Sasha Zverev in the first round? Would not shock me at all. He's got a strange game, and he could really bother Zverev, possibly. So I see a little opportunity there for Francis Tiafoe. Ivo Karlovic, not fun to play, but winnable match for Tiafoe. Maybe he gets Radu Albat. Maybe he gets Sasha Zverev. He could win either of those. Benoit Paire, gotta like this. Benoit Paire could get through to a fourth round here. Schwartz-D, I got Schwartz-D and Kachanov coming through. The winner, probably Kachanov. He should be able to get there. Again, just like Kyrgios should be able to get through parts of this draw. Kachanov 2, a little more predictable than Kyrgios. Below that, Rafa's draw. I mean, how easy. John Millman up first. I mean, I don't want to say it's super easy. John Millman could be a challenge, but pretty good draw. Tanazi Kakinakis or a qualifier. I mean, Kakinakis, he's barely been winning for years. Maybe Verdasco could be a little bit of a challenge. Not really. Cilic has been struggling. John Isner could be challenging for Nadal. It's potential fourth round. Jan-Lindner Struffy-Struff's in there. Always a danger. Kachanov and Nadal quarterfinal. Do we get that? This draw is not so bad, but if Nadal has to play Isner and Kachanov back-to-back, could be a little bit tricky. Do we get Kyrgios-Nadal semifinal? I sure hope. That would be unbelievable. But I don't think so. We likely see Dominic Thiem, Nadal repeat. Not a good match for Nadal if it goes crazy again like last year. Will that really happen? Who knows? But if it did, you better believe it, Nadal's going to be worried about his body holding up for the final. All right, so there you go. We go through this draw. The big question is who comes through to that semifinal on top on the bottom half of the draw. I got Federer, Djokovic, Nadal coming through their semis. Who wins it? Tough call. I think Kyrgios in the semifinal, Nadal would not be thrilled with that. I don't have faith in Kyrgios to make it. I think Nadal beats pretty much everyone else. Federer, Djokovic, or Federer, Medvedev. Comment below what you think there. I think it's Federer, Djokovic. I think Federer would enjoy getting another crack at Djokovic after the Wimbledon. But if you worry, how much does that Wimbledon loss hurt Federer? Well, we'll really see how he comes out mentally against Djokovic if we are lucky enough to get the semifinal Federer-Djokovic. All right, final thing, and then we'll get out of here. Hit the music. We need Nick Kyrgios. He is good for tennis. Noah Rubin said in an interview to Spox. I don't know what that is. Sparrow pox. It's like chicken pox. Rubin said Kyrgios sometimes goes through some limits, but he is good for the sport. We need this character. We need a bad boy like it was John McEnroe at the time. Kyrgios loves this role, and he brings people to tennis. And then he kind of makes some excuses for Kyrgios, saying, hey, the season's long. How can you blame him for losing your mind a little bit? All right. Thank you for listening. Sorry we don't have more for you. I'm just kind of burnt out this week, but saving my energy for... We'll do another show on the weekend. It might be only for the patron saints. Not sure yet. Depends what's going on. If there's some really big news, I won't leave you hanging. We'll do something this weekend. Otherwise, we'll see you as much as humanly possible at the U.S. Open. I don't know how I'm going to adapt to the schedule, but I will do my best. See ya!